Ah, you finally made it. Have you come to destroy me? Pay me back for my sins? Right, right. Ah, I forgot you're a cleric now. The sorcerer at first, right, yes. But the connection you have to the church now really has taken over your personality, hasn't it? Oh, stop. I'm only joking. Mostly. Trust me, you would not be the first to try and kill me, and you most certainly would not be the last. I can see you getting ready to cast a spell. I'd advise against it. It's not going to. Ah, all right. Well, you tried anyways. Well, as you can see, your spell didn't work. Like I was trying to say, your spell isn't going to work in here. This room has an anti-magic field over it. I'm surprised you didn't feel it when you came in. It actually came with the place. I've never been able to get rid of it. And believe me, I've tried. Though it did come in handy just now, I suppose. Oh, don't do that. Why not? For two reasons. One, I just had this place cleaned, and I thought I'd make it look nice for your arrival. And I really don't want to spoil that by putting your blood all over the place. Two, I'm willing to bet you barely know how to wield that thing. You've been a cleric for what, 6 months now? Before that, you had a quarterstaff that you barely used, yet you still think you'd be able to best me with a sword. You're mostly right. I am a wizard, and yes, that would normally make me inept with melee weapons as you. However, you apparently will be surprised to know that some people don't rely on just magic. For instance, just like this one. I have been training with a blade as long as I have been learning spells. So if you would like to be embarrassed, feel free to attack me. Otherwise, I'd request we get back to our conversation. Embarrassment it is. That took what? Less than 10 seconds before I disarmed you? Honestly, how could you have thought challenging me was a good idea? What? No, I wasn't going to kill you otherwise. I just want to have a conversation with you. That's all I've wanted this entire time. You're the one who's been annoyingly intent on using violence in my home. Besides, I have no desire to kill you. You're young, you're talented, you have a bright future ahead of you. If you would just rein in some of that righteous indignation. But you do need to learn to think for yourself. Come now, if you truly thought for yourself, you wouldn't have been blindly charging in here without studying your enemy first. Let me ask you something. Who suggested you take this on? Who set you on the path of my destruction? Was it you? Or a certain church, perhaps? Well, yes, I suppose I could agree that you had a duty to your god, if it was actually your god that you were serving. Yes, God of justice, I'm well aware. And it would be justice to kill me, I suppose. I have killed innocents, yes. I did also plot to take down the church, yes. I am not denying that merits some sort of penance, perhaps even my death, but now is not the time for it, nor are you the one to be doling that out. There are much bigger problems to handle first. For instance, did your high cleric tell you why I plotted to take them down? That's what I figured. So you, who ends up being pulled into the church by interesting circumstances, are simply told the events of history, and you've never once thought to question it? You've never wondered what started the situation they've told you about, and about the people they've painted as villains? Never asked yourself if those clerics who are speaking so heavily into your mind have any sort of agenda to fill? Having a good God is not the only prerequisite to being a trustworthy person. I know you're young, but you are smarter than this. Hmm. No, I don't want to hear your excuses. I don't need to hear anyone else covering for those traitors. You would say that I'm out of line when you've never bothered once to find out the truth. You, with your blind devotion to evil men, would correct me? No, that's not how this works. Tell me, have you ever heard from your precious God yourself? Since you've been a cleric for 6 months now, seen a single miracle that he's done? Any interventions? But surely you've seen his works. You've seen him intervene in some way. It would be unheard of for a cleric to have never seen their god do a single thing. At that point, most people would just move on to a new god that actually showed some sign of paying attention. Ah, that would be the first thing you said that's correct. He is a busy god, but not in the way you think. It's not that your god would make time for you or the church. It's that he can't. He is currently in a war with several other gods, and not in any position to be hearing from any of you, let alone intervening or speaking. He's been gone for 2 years now. If I wanted to turn you against your church, there would be a much easier way. Trust me. All I'm trying to do here is help you see that you've been played. Yes, you have. Listen to what I'm saying. Your God is gone. Everything your leaders are telling you, every communication, they say they've had every message straight from him. Those are all lies. They have their own agenda that they're trying to fill. You saw something, didn't you? Something that you weren't supposed to see. Oh, it would shock you how many things I know about you, about your church, about your God. This is why we need to have this conversation. I'm actually grateful that your High Cleric sent you right to me. I've been racking my brain for so long trying to figure out new ways to take them down. Something I could do that would out them for being traitors. And it's you. You're the key. Someone who knows them well enough, knows their patterns, knows their methods, but wouldn't be suspected. They don't value you at all. You know that, right? No, you weren't sent here because they thought you were strong enough to kill me. They sent you here because they thought I would kill you. You have nowhere near the strength needed to take me down, even if you had your magic. And they knew that. You have seen something you shouldn't have, and despite your protests, I know you are beginning to question some of them. You are a liability to them now. No, they don't believe in you. They believe that you would no longer be their concern. Oh, the rare, completely lucky off chance that you managed to kill me. That would have still benefited them. But make no mistake, you would have ended up falling for some kind of misfortune within the week. They do not have your best interest in mind. They only think of themselves. They only think of themselves. They consider it lucky that your god has gone missing. They have no one to answer to now. They can have all that power, unchecked, and convince the rest of their order that they're acting upon God's will. But we won't let them. I know you don't have a lot of reason to trust me. Up until 10 minutes ago, you were bent on destroying me. But please, consider what I've been saying. Ever since you saw them poison that child, you've known. I am not the monster they made me out to be. They're the monsters. That's what they failed to mention to you, wasn't it? The reason I tried to destroy your order was to stop them from destroying every other order in existence. I exaggerate, perhaps, but I'm not far off. The gods that are fighting each other right now, your high clerics want to take over all of those other orders. Call it justice. Dictate those temples to their gods of justice and rule. By the time their gods stop fighting, your clerics might be powerful enough to take some of them on. Will you join me?